Hello and welcome to Blue Tiger Academy. Today we're going to learn how to install and configure one of the most amazing, powerful, free open source tools called Declarative Lookup Rollup Summaries. Every single org should have this package installed. Every single admin can utilize this package in some way, shape, or form to help you do rollups on related records. Salesforce does have an out-of-the-box roll-up summary field, but there's a lot of limitations around it. I'm sure you've run into some of them. So one of the major limitations is you can't use a formula field in the filter criteria for a roll-up summary. You can't use a relative date filter. You can't use any filter logic. So these three things are deal breakers for a lot of us when we're creating roll-ups between two different related records. In this video, we're going to show you how to install and configure this package because when you Google it, you get taken to the GitHub, and sometimes it's a little bit scary, all of the very technical jargon that's all listed all over the GitHub. The documentation is a little bit technical as well. So Salesforce.org has actually set up a super easy way to install and configure this package. We're going to show you how to do that right here, right now. Right, so we'll switch over to our Salesforce org, and you'll find down below in the comments the link to install declarative rollup summaries. I'm going to click that link, and I'm going to see this screen from salesforce.org. I'm going to click install declarative rollup summaries, and I'm going to click login to install, and then you can choose which one you want to do, if it's production or a developer org or a sandbox. I'm in a developer org, so I'm going to choose this first option. And then you will enter your Salesforce credentials. And then you'll click allow here. And then you'll click install. Now the installation process, it says it could take approximately 2 minutes, so be patient. Okay, so we're going to actually hop over to Salesforce, and we're going to create one of our fields that we're going to need for our example to use declarative rollup summaries. So in our scenario, we want to create a field that is going to show the number of closed won opportunities on a contact record. So I'm going to click Object Manager, and then I'm going to go to Contact, and then I'm going to go to Fields and Relationships. I'm going to create a new field, and this is going to be a number field. I'm going to call it number closed won ops, and you'll want to give it a description. So this is the number of closed won ops this contact is related to via the opportunity contact role. Click next. And then you'll update the field level security for this field. You won't really want anybody to edit this. So I would make it read only for everybody except for the system administrator. And then you can add it to your contact page layouts. All right, so let's check out our installation process. So it says installation is complete. So we can click this View Org button. And I thought that was going to take us to it. But so we're going to have to go to the 9 dots or the waffle, whatever you call this over here. And we're going to go to the Declarative Rollup Summaries app. Okay, so we'll go to Manage Lookup Rollup Summaries. And then we're going to create a new summary. So we're going to name this contact number of closed won ops So I like to name mine with the name of the object that it is triggering off of, or actually the name of the object that the field is on, that the roll up is on, because that just makes it easier when you get a lot of these roll ups. And then you have to type out the API name. It does not auto-populate like the other areas of Salesforce. So we'll type that in. You have to have underscores or else you'll get an error. Our parent object is going to be contact. Our relationship field is the contact ID, because this is going to count all of the opportunity contact roles that have the particular contact ID on it. So our child object is opportunity contact role. And then our relationship criteria is opportunity is 1 equal to true. We're going to keep it simple. Now we're going to scroll down here, and the field to aggregate, this is going to be ID. So this means that it's just going to count the occurrence of all of the IDs. And then where the aggregate option, we want it to count. We don't want it to sum. So if we were doing a roll up of the closed one amount, then we would choose the sum of the amount field. So we're just going to count the IDs in this example. Where we want the results to be dropped is in the new field that we just created, that closed one opportunities field. All right, and next we're going to make this run in system mode. We want it to run in real time, and you cannot click this active checkbox yet until you have deployed the trigger for this. So I'll show you what happens if you do. If you click save, you're going to get this error. It's going to say Apex trigger has not been deployed yet. Click the manage child trigger and try again. So what you have to do is uncheck that active checkbox. Click save. Oh, and then it's saying my field does not exist. Okay, so hold on. What did I call my field? Closed one ops, not closed one opportunities. Here we go. Let's fix that. It's a good error for you to see. We'll click save. All right, now we're good. Our next step is to click manage child trigger. We are having to do this because this is the first roll up that is on this object. All right, so we'll hit deploy, and then you'll see up here that it's going to say deploying. So you just let it deploy. Now, if you create a second roll up using that's going to trigger off of the opportunity contact role, you will not have to go through this process again. All right, so it says deployment complete. We're going to hit cancel to go back to the previous screen. And it says success. Our roll up has child and parent triggers that have been deployed. And now we're able to click active and save. Okay. So now if you have existing records that you want to trigger this roll up for, you can click full calculate, click run full calculate job, and that's going to kick off an Apex job that's going to run, and it's going to update all of the existing records in your org to have this field closed one ops on the contact updated. Now I'm going to show you a couple of places that you can look for to see some of these things happening. So we're going to test this also and make sure that it's working. Now I'm going to go to Apex jobs and setup. And we can see here that this is the roll-up job that I just ran. So we can see that the number of batches processed, no failures, and the status is completed. So every time that you run that, do a full calculate and you run this, it's going to create an Apex job record. So if you have a lot of records, you can check out this Apex jobs and you can see when it completes. Now, if you schedule this to run, it has a scheduling function. You can go down to the minute of when you want it to run. If you don't want it to run real time, so sometimes you may have roll-ups that are really heavy on the database, and there's no reason why your users need to see this data real time. I would schedule this roll up to run overnight then, so that it's not taking up resources when your users are using Salesforce. So you can schedule this. You can actually even filter which records you want to schedule this roll up to happen for. So if you right here, it's going to run at 2 a.m. If I set it to this, it's going to say 2:05. So it'll run at 2:05. And if I click schedule recurring full calculate job, now what's going to happen is this is going to put a record in what's called scheduled jobs. So I'll pop over here and I should now see right here, there's my roll up for my closed one ops that is scheduled to run tomorrow at 2:05 a.m. If you wanted to cancel this scheduled job, you just delete this and now your scheduled job will no longer run. Keep in mind, if you schedule a whole bunch of jobs underneath a user and you inactivate that user, those jobs will fail to run. So you should always schedule these jobs underneath a user that is not going to be deactivated. All right, so let's go ahead and come and test out our new roll-ups. So we've got Betty here, and let's close win and op. So let me check and make sure I can see my field. So here's my field, number of closed one ops. That's great. And I'm going to create and close win and op. All right, so this is test DLRS. Here's my close date. We'll just put an amount. And I should be able to just close win it all at once. Open and close win. Wouldn't that be nice if that happened all the time? All right, so now what I need to do is I need to add my Betty. Oh, she's already here because I created the opportunity from the contact. So Betty's automatically added into the contact roles. Beautiful. So now, since this is a closed one op, we should now see the field go to 1. Yay, and it did. So our roll up is working. Now let's try another one. Let's say that we wanted to roll up the amount of the closed one opportunities onto the contact. So this is going to be a little tricky because the amount field doesn't exist on the opportunity contact role. It exists on the opportunity. So in order to get the amount field onto the opportunity contact role, we can create a formula field to get that data there. So let's go to the opportunity contact role object, and we will create a new formula field. And this is going to be a currency field. So we'll call this amount, currency, click next. And then our formula, we're going to use the advanced formula picker. We'll click insert, and then we'll go, we want to pull the amount from the opportunity field, opportunity object. So we'll choose the opportunity object and get the amount, click insert, and that should be it. We're going to leave that to treat blank fields as zeros. So this is the amount from the opportunity. This is used as a helper field in DLRS. All right, we'll hit next. And then make sure you set the field level security. We don't need it to be added to the page layout. That's fine. And then, so we have our amount field. All right, next we have to create the field on the contact that's going to hold the amount of the closed one ops for this particular contact. So we'll create a new field here, and this is going to be a currency field. We'll hit next. And this is going to be amount closed one ops. And we're going to give it 2 decimals. And so this field is updated by DLRS and is the roll up of the amount from the ops related to this contact via the contact role. Then we will set the field level security. So we want this to be read only for everybody except for system administrators. And then we're going to add this field to the page layout and we will click save. Okay, now we're ready to do our roll up. So let's clone this roll up. And the name of our roll up is going to be contact amount of closed won ops. And then we'll say this is contact amount of closed won ops. The parent object is contact, child object is opportunity contact role. The relationship field is still the same. Our criteria is still the same. Our field to aggregate is different. So our field to aggregate is amount. So this is the field that's on the opportunity contact role. So it is our custom field called amount that we just created. And then we're going to sum the amount, and then we're going to put the sum of that amount in the amount closed won ops field on the contact. Okay, so if I hit save here, I should be all set because I've already deployed the opportunity contact role trigger. So you can save this with the active checkbox checked. And let's go and check out Betty's record. So I have not hit full calculate yet. So I do not expect this field to have a value, amount closed won ops, and it does not. So I'm now going to hit full calculate and run full calculate job. And then now I expect this to update Betty's record with the amount of the closed won op that I created here. So I should see 15,000 in this new field. And I do. Yay. All set. Now let's go one step further. Let's put a filter on these two new fields that we just created to only show the number of closed won ops and the amount of closed won ops that the contact has for this year only. In other words, the close date of the opportunity needs to be for this year. What we're going to do is we're going to create a formula field on the opportunity contact role object. So I'll go to the opportunity contact role in the object manager. I'll click new under fields. I'll click formula, then next. And then we'll create a new field that is called close date is in current year. This will be a checkbox. And then I'm going to use the picker here and go to the opportunity object and pull the close date. Now I want to get the year of the close date, so I'm going to use the year function, and I want to compare that against the year of today's date. If these two are equal, it's going to return true, and the checkbox will be checked. I'll click next here. Next, and then save. All right, so that field is now created. So let's use the developer console to test this puppy out. So I'm going to go to setup and then developer console. And I'm going to go to the query editor and I will write my SOQL query. I'm going to say select ID, opportunity ID, and my new custom field here, because I need to test it to make sure it's working. From opportunity contact role, where opportunity ID equals, I'm going to use Betty's opportunity here. I'm going to go to the record and I'll get the ID from the URL. And then I will execute this query. And this new checkbox is showing true, which is great. Now I'm going to test it by changing the date to be for last year on this op. I'll click save. I'll go back to the developer console. I'm going to say refresh grid, and we can see it went to false. So this checkbox is working. All right. Now what we need to do is we need to update our roll up to have this filter. So we're going to add our field in. So you get the field name from here. And I'm looking for that to be true. Okay, let's save this. And we'll go back to Betty's contact. Where's Betty? And so currently right now, the amount of closed win ops shows $15,000. I'm going to now run this DLRS that now has this filter to only look for an opportunity for this year with a close date of this year. And I would expect this amount to go to 0. So we'll refresh that. And it did. It went to 0 because the close date is from 2022 on this opportunity. Now, I'm going to go to this opportunity and I'm going to change the close date to be for 2023. Now you might think that this would trigger DLRS and Betty's contact record should be updated to now say 15,000. But DLRS is only going to fire when the object right here is edited. So when the opportunity contact role is edited, that's what's going to trigger this roll up to fire. So edits to the opportunity do not trigger this roll up to occur. Now, how you can get around that is you can schedule a full calculate, and you can schedule this to run once or twice a day, and then that would take care of that. So you can run it overnight and it would update your records overnight. The next day, everything would be fine. It's just not going to be in real time. So if you do schedule this and you end up going this route, you'll want to make sure that you update the help text on these fields to let the users know what's happening. So we would go to this object and we would go to the amount field that we created. You would edit this. Well, we would update the name, this, and to have this year on it. I'll show you what happens in DLRS too when you change the name. All right, and then we will say this is the roll up of the amount from the ops related to this contact via the contact role with a close date equal to the current year. This this field is updated overnight at whatever time you schedule the roll up for. You can say 4 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you wanted this roll up to occur twice, you could just schedule it twice, once at 10 a.m. maybe, once at 5 p.m., however many times, but you can keep scheduling it. You can have more than one scheduled job for each DLRS if you wanted it to run more than once in a day. All right, now we just changed the API name. So that is going to break our roll up. So we need to come here and we need to fix the API name of this roll up to make sure it has TY on the end. All right, so if your API names change, you got to make sure that you come and update all your DLRS roll ups. All right, so now we can also see that we've scheduled this for 2 a.m. So the next time it's going to run is 2 a.m. On tomorrow. And you can see that under scheduled jobs as well. So we'll take that, check that out and make sure that that happened. Go to scheduled jobs and we will see our roll up. And that's it. That's a wrap. You've just learned how to configure one of the most amazing tools out there. Let us know what you liked, what you didn't like, and what else you want to see coming out of this channel. Make sure to like and subscribe this video. We'll see you next time. Thanks for watching Blue Tiger Academy. Bye.